is Chapter 9, Part 2 lecture video, Slide 16, Spontaneous Statements or Excited Utterance. A statement made after and about a startling event. That falls under Federal Rules of Evidence 803. The statement must relate to the event and must be made under stress. Page 259, all the way at the bottom. Oops. To qualify as a spontaneous statement, the declarant must have personally observed the event he or she is commenting about. This includes utilization of any of the 5 senses, although eyesight and hearing are the most common. Page 260 at the top. The statement must be made very near the as far as time goes to the occurrence of the event in question. The person should still be responding to the event, or as in some states, in the excitement of the moment, it is said. The length of this interval will vary with the type of stimulus involved. The stronger the stimulus, the stronger or longer the excitement of the moment is likely to last. Slide 18, Contemporaneous Declaration, Present Sense Impression, when a statement is made at the same time as an act. Federal Rules of Evidence 803, a statement that describes and an event witness is perceived. Statements made immediately after an event. Page 260 at the bottom, under Contemporaneous Declaration, also called Present Sense Impression. To be admissible, a statement to be admissible under the Contemporaneous Declaration exception, also called the Present Sense Impression exception to the hearsay rule, the statement and the acts must occur at the same time and relate to the same event. There is no requirement, however, that the statement be made spontaneously. The statements will be admissible even if they are in response to a police officer's question, such as, "What are you doing?" Okay. Page 261 gives you the Federal Rules of Evidence Contemporaneous Declaration definition. Present sense impression, a statement describing or explaining an event or condition made while or immediately after the declarant perceived it. An example just below that, the doctor said, "I am going to have to operate to save your life." A man entered the bank and said, "This is a stick-up, give me all the money." Those are examples of statements. And a spontaneous statement is made before being asked questions about an event. A contemporaneous declaration can be made in response to a question. There's a difference between spontaneous is you're not asked a question yet, and contemporaneous, it could be you are asked a question. Slide 19, dying declaration. We already mentioned that briefly. Statement made by a declarant in anticipation of death, or they think they're about to die. It's usually deemed trustworthy because there's a lack of motive to lie. Federal Rules of Evidence 804, a statement concerning cause of impeding death. Some states add requirement of death, that the declarant actually did die after making the statement. Page 262, you can read the definition and examples. Slide 20, mental or physical state. Admit a statement about mental, emotional, or physical state. Federal Rules of Evidence 803 covers the statement concerning mental or physical state. The statement of memory or belief is not admissible to prove a fact remembered or believed. Overall, it's useful to show intent, plan, motive, emotion, pain, or state of health. Page 264, mental or physical state. The mental or physical state exception to the hearsay rule is used to introduce statements about mental, emotional, or physical states. The statement must relate to the declarant's mental, emotional, or physical state at the time the statement was made. And page 264 and 265 are examples of that. So let's look at the bottom of page 264. Examples of statements that are admissible under the mental or physical state exception to the hearsay rule. The robber said, "Give me your money or I will kill you." Falls under that. The torture victim repeatedly screamed as if in extreme pain. Slide 23. Oh, no, slide 22, reputation. Admits what person or community thinks of an individual. Federal Rules of Evidence 803, limited admissibility until character is raised by the defendant. So character has to be raised by the defendant before that's brought up. It covers a reputation of the defendant, witness, and victims. Page 266 at the top. Reputation is what others say about someone. It is by its very nature hearsay. In fact, it's frequently nothing but gossip. Nonetheless, historically, there has been a hearsay exception for reputation. The terminology used is that a character witness is called to testify about a person's reputation. You know how we talked earlier about method of operation, modus operandi, that a criminal typically follows the same type of modus operandi to carry out a crime? I like to think of that for reputation. People typically follow the same modus operandi for their everyday life as well, and that's kind of how reputation is seen in a way. Okay. Slide 23. Former testimony, witness unavailable. Must be past testimony made by under oath by an unavailable declarant. So maybe in a preliminary hearing, defendant must have had an opportunity to cross-examine the person. Federal Rules of Evidence 804 covers that. In that page 267 at the bottom talks about that hearsay rule. And there's examples on page 268. Slide 24, prior statements. A prior inconsistent statement under the federal law in many states are not hearsay, and they are used to impeach a witness. Prior consistent statements used on redirect to bolster the credibility of an impeached witness. And it's not considered hearsay in federal court. There's examples on page 269 to 272. Slide 25, ancient documents. Accepting old documents that are 20 plus years of age because of difficulty of proving the validity now fall under this exception to the hearsay rule. Federal Rules of Evidence 803-16. Documents at least 20 years of old, 30 in some states. Authenticity must not be subject to valid challenge. And that is the end of Chapter 9.